Many of us carry a very specific badge of honor. We proudly proclaim that we hate small talk. We worship the deep thinker and the visionary, treating superficial conversation as a waste of intellectual energy. But when we refuse the mundane exchange, we seal ourselves off from the very human connection we claim to be looking for. This obsession with the extraordinary creates a cold habit. We begin to treat the people around us, the barista, the neighbor, the quiet colleague, as functional background scenery. They become objects to move past rather than individuals to engage with. In reality, our hatred of small talk is often a protective shield. It's a defense against the risk of appearing unpolished or the minor friction of a brief, awkward silence. We tell ourselves we want depth, but we are actually trying to skip the vulnerability required to get there. We spend our energy trying to appear rare and curated, yet this performance is fundamentally isolating. By refusing to meet the world in its ordinary, unedited form, we end up feeling disconnected and numb, as if life is happening on the other side of a glass wall. We spend our lives waiting for a cinematic breakthrough, the perfect investor, the grand speech, the sudden stroke of luck. But reality is rarely that dramatic. Significant change almost always arrives in a quiet, unimpressive form, a casual message, a brief introduction, or a conversation we nearly avoided. This reflects a mechanical truth about how progress works. The most massive doors in a career or a life move on the smallest possible hinges. Small talk serves as a mandatory bridge. It is the initial interaction where humans test for safety and approachability. It's how the world asks if you are capable of being a person before you try to be a professional. When we insult the doorway of a simple greeting, we inadvertently lock ourselves out of the opportunities we've been waiting for. We demand a harvest of trust while refusing to even acknowledge the soil. In professional circles, we like to believe in a pure meritocracy. We assume that if we are the most talented and the hardest working, success is a mathematical certainty. They begin in the in-between, the 3 minutes before the meeting, the brief exchange after the presentation, the casual chat with a senior, the ordinary moment when somebody thinks, this person is easy to engage with. Leadership is as much about relational ease as it is about technical mastery. Decision makers promote people who offer emotional coherence and psychological safety, people who make the room feel stable. If you are highly capable but socially guarded, you render yourself invisible. Emotional stiffness becomes the primary ceiling on your career. This same principle dictates how entire markets move. We use abstract terms like funnels, leverage, and scaling, but those are just modern labels for an ancient human process. Business is human trust at scale. That trust doesn't begin with a pitch deck. It begins with tone and emotional clarity. It's built on whether a customer feels heard or merely managed. A founder who views ordinary people with contempt will inevitably make expensive mistakes. If you cannot listen to simple frustrations, you will make catastrophic assumptions about what the market actually needs. Every casual interaction is a form of field research. When your ego is quiet enough to pay attention, you hear the repeated pains and the quiet hesitations that a spreadsheet will never capture. Scalable business insight comes from humble attention. It is generated by the person who notices what people casually reveal, not by the loudest genius in the room. Mastering these interactions does not mean you have to fill every second with chatter. Engaging with the world isn't about performing or entertaining others. A weak ego rushes to fill every gap. A strong presence can let a moment breathe. Silence is not a conversational failure. It can be a form of respect or a moment for trust to settle. One of the most mature skills you can develop is the ability to let a pause exist without rushing to fix it. True communication mastery lies in the balance. Speak lightly, listen with focus, and allow enough space for a real connection to form on its own. This leads us to a deeper level of refinement. The same armor we wear to appear professional or interesting is what prevents us from feeling present in our own lives. Refinement is seen in how you carry yourself when the moment is too small for an audience. This is disciplined softness, the strength required to be simple and kind when there is nothing to gain. It takes a grounded person to meet the world without the need to dominate or impress. The addiction to being interesting is exhausting. It keeps you editing yourself instead of living, and performing curiosity instead of actually feeling it. If you want a life that feels more substantial, you must increase your tolerance for the minor awkwardness of ordinary beginnings. You have to be willing to be an amateur at connection. By honoring these tiny openings, you stop performing and finally start living. The quality of your life is determined by the ordinary moments you choose not to despise. When you lower your guard, the world finally has a chance to reach you.